Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Miguel. Well, Miguel Leyva for full. I think my contribution is very much more influenced than the previous ones in the fact that I am not a European citizen. So for those of us that don't have that passport, normally it's a bit of a different experience. So I am now in my second year of the master's. I'm writing my thesis. I'm also working part-time at Diversify, which I already presented earlier today with Eva. And my plan is to stay here in Norway, hopefully. Or yeah, maybe at least some other country within Europe. So how does this go? Okay, so yeah, for me, staying here is a bit more difficult than coming here, because coming here, like, you have the master supporting you, but then staying here, like, you kind of need to justify your stay. So that's as a foreigner, that's always some kind of pressure that you feel on, and that kind of also adds a layer of difficulty to your experience when you're choosing a master's, when you're choosing what to do, and kind of having to plan more ahead of time. So I do feel like it's a bit, that's why I said like breaking through. But I think it's definitely something that everybody can do, and that the Global Minds is a really supportive community, and that we can all support each other into yeah, like following the plans and the any aspirations that then any of the members may have. So how did I get here? Yes, in that regard, for example, I had the opportunity of being offered a position in an internship in Portugal, which I really would have loved to take, but I also got offered to be here at Diversify. And that moment in deciding, for me, I had to think more about like what would be the best decision for me to stay. So for me, it would be better to, I'm already here in Norway. It would make more sense to continue being here. Also because part of my plan of coming here to Europe was, and still is, to advocate still like for a lot of work that is being done in Mexico, and hopefully to raise funds in the future for Mexican organizations, especially, for example, those who are working with families that have lost somebody because of the drug wars, who's are missing family members, and that suffer violence on a very often basis. So yeah, if I want to do that, and if I want to stay, I have to try and play the game. So my strategy was, okay, I'll stay in Norway. There's better opportunities there. At least that's what I thought, and was part of my decision. And also because during the interview, I clicked more with what Diversify does, which is trying to precisely promote opportunities for migrants with an academic education in the Nordics, which is not that easy to do. Like, I don't know how many of you know, but for example, even if you are from the US, if you are German, if you are from the EU, it's difficult to get a job in Norway, because there are many reasons, but one of them is that it's very difficult also to get fired. And there are a lot of other risks, kind of, or at least the employers see that as risks that they are not willing to take for any other kind of migrants. So within that, there's a lot of obstacles for everybody who's trying to come here, and Diversify precisely tries to change that a little bit, and some other organizations that we have collaborated with. And in Portugal, I would have done something similar, but more on the HR area, which I do like, but it's not something I truly or I'm passionate about. So I decided on Diversify. I came here in June, and also because of this idea that I have, I agreed upon making, for example, double of the hours that the program requires. So they asked for 300. I offered to do 600 and stay for 6 months. So I think all these kind of extra steps that you or that I decided to take definitely helped into the decision, for example, of then ultimately saying like, okay, yeah, like we want you to stay, we want you to be here. I mean, it's of course not the ideal experience that you would expect for everyone coming from another country to have, but yeah, I think I'm very happy for what I did. I'm very happy for being here and what I do. And yeah, let me just tell you a bit of what I did in the internship, which I also really enjoyed. So I was basically involved in project management and in consultancy and research, which is some couple of things that Diversify does. In project management, I help with the mentorship programs, especially reaching out to people who could be a mentor, and also helping with the initial service and the end line service for the program, like to see a little bit of how it changed. I was also involved in the D&I in the workplace sessions, which is like monthly panel discussions that Diversify has regarding different topics. For example, last one we had was about anti-racism in the Nordics, which is basically non-existent. It was very interesting. So looking for people who are willing to participate in those panel discussions, and also meeting with them and having interviews towards like what kind of questions they would like to answer was part of it. Also, I helped with the planning for the Diversify Nordic Summit, which is, we have a picture there of Chisom, the founder of Diversify, speaking at the event, which also involves reaching out. Now that I think of it, it's a lot of PR kind of thing too. On top of, like, for example, doing surveys and looking at the results, which is also very different of what it's being done in academia. Because it's, yeah, research here is not as in-depth, I would say, as what you would have, for example, for a master thesis or so, but because you kind of try to get the information just that you need to in order to continue working or applying the things that you are trying to do. So that brings me also to consultancy and research, which we do. I was involved for some companies. For the surveys regarding there, I arrived after they were done. So it was a bit difficult doing the analysis because I didn't grasp exactly the idea of what was the intention of being measured, you know? So it was, that was a bit of a uphill trip, and still still is, because yeah, of all the differences of what doing research more in the business and organizational environment is, as it is in comparison to academia. So yeah, basically that's it. That's what I did. That's how I got here. And the knowledge, how it is applied, I think it's been applied in several ways, but I wouldn't say like what I learned in the master's has been definitely useful, but it's not. I have applied some parts of it in different areas. So I think trying to adapt the knowledge and not sticking to this is what I learned and this is how it should be, and then getting frustrated for not being able to do exactly how I learned things was also a journey for me. Yeah, but it's been definitely helpful. Like everything I learned in the masters, I'm very happy that I finally, I mean, I've not even done and I'm already kind of using it. So yeah, that's me.
As maybe Miguel, before you finish, an advice that you want to share?
An advice, I would say to reach out, definitely. Like we have a huge network. Everybody's super supportive. So yeah, try reaching out. Whatever you need for opportunities within internships, for if you're interested in any of the topics that somebody else is working on, just like do it. And yeah, like I think the most difficult part, at least for me, that being from kind of far away, was the feeling of isolation at some point. So I think that's the, I mean, both for professional kind of advice and personal advice, just yeah, reach out and try to build your own community wherever you want to stay.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Miguel.